Hi everyone, day 19 in China is over and this video might run a little long. I apologize in advance. My friend recently told me that he went to the bank to try to set up a Chinese bank account and he felt stupid because he couldn't explain himself very well, regardless of the fact that he's been learning Chinese for a while. And I've been thinking about that, and I've also been to the bank multiple times to change money, and not once did I feel stupid or dumb for not being able to speak Chinese or communicate properly. That's because I never set unrealistic expectations on myself. I've only been in China for 3 weeks. I expect to speak like a 3-week-old. And the fact that I can speak better than a 3-week baby, it's already impressive. Yeah, this is going to be about not setting unrealistic expectations on yourself. And hopefully it's helpful if you're learning a different language or if you're living in a different country. So a little piece of personal information, personal history. I wasn't born in the US. I was born into a Russian-speaking family, and we moved to the US when I was almost 2 years old. So I grew up speaking both Russian and English, and by the time I was a teenager, my Russian was much worse than my English. I had a thick accent in Russian, and I was embarrassed about it. I was ashamed. I felt like I should be speaking better because that's my mother tongue, but it was natural. If you speak a certain language for 8 hours a day with your friends and at school, and only speak a few hours of the other language a day at home, it's natural that the language you speak more of will be better. And by the time I was a teenager, my English was much better than my Russian, and I was ashamed about that. I didn't want to speak Russian because of my accent. Whenever there was a Russian environment, I just keep it quiet so that no one knew how badly I spoke it. And then after that, I spent a year in Japan. I went abroad in college to Japan without having learned any Japanese beforehand. So all the Japanese I learned was there, and I put no expectations on myself. I didn't expect myself to speak it perfectly. No one else did either. I didn't look Japanese, so the fact that I could say anything in Japanese was already impressive. And by the time 1 year was over, everyone, including myself, was impressed how well I can speak in the end. The entire time I was in Japan, I never had problems asking people what certain words meant. I had never had problems saying things wrong, again, because I never expected myself to speak it perfectly. And then when I came back home, I decided to implement the same process with Russian. I started asking what certain words meant. I would say things even if it was wrong to get corrected, so I would learn how to say it right. Most of all, I stopped caring what other people thought about me based on the way that I spoke Russian. And as a result, also my Russian speaking ability drastically improved. So the takeaway of this video is that if you are learning a different language and if you have an accent, it's okay. Don't feel like you have to speak it perfectly, because if you've only been learning a language for 3 years, you won't be at the same level as someone who's been learning it for 20 years, right? Or someone who was born in that country and is already 20 years old. Also, think about someone you know with an accent. Do you judge them for it? The answer, hopefully the answer is no. Most people, I don't judge anybody I know based on their accent. And likewise, I'm sure most of the people also won't judge anybody based on their accents either, because people usually they'll judge you based on your character and based on your ability to be interesting, because everyone wants to be around kind, interesting people. And if you're that, your accent most likely won't even cross their mind. It's just like your hair color. Yeah, you have it, but it doesn't mean you're a worse person or a better person for having it. It's just a little tidbit that makes you you. With that knowledge, I know that I have an accent in Russian. I probably have an accent in English sometimes. I have an accent in Japanese. I have an accent in Chinese. I'll probably have them for the rest of my life. And that's okay, because I don't expect myself to be speaking it perfectly. I don't put unrealistic expectations on myself. And an example of this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is someone who has a really thick Austrian accent, and despite of that accent, became a celebrity first and then the governor of California second. So at a time, someone with a thick accent was the most important person in one of the most important states of the United States. So if anything, if you have an accent in a language that you speak, show people that you can accomplish great things despite of your accent. I know that despite of my accents, I'll still try my best, and I'll show people that despite of my accents, I was able to accomplish so much. And if anything, think about your accent as like an autograph on your words, right? You're adding some spice into that language, okay? Because no one else can say it like you, so you've just signed the words you said with your personal autograph. I hope that was helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. Own those accents. They're awesome. 再见!